Today is the 8th lecture on the preliminaries class. So this is a follow-up class on whatever we learned on ellipse the other day. So this is the solution to the sum I had given you. S1 and S2 are two fixed points. So the line passing through them will be a fixed line. We choose that as our x-axis. Now we choose the midpoint of the line segment S1, S2, which is, by the way, a fixed line segment. Since these two are fixed points, the line segment S1, S2 is a fixed line segment. So the midpoint of them will be a fixed point. So that you choose that as your origin. And you consider a perpendicular at that point on this line as your, that will be a fixed line, and choose that as your y-axis. Okay. So then, so now once you set up this axis, so then let OS2 be, the distance OS2 be A. So then S2 will be A comma 0, the S1 will be minus A comma 0, because these two are two on other sides. And let P be any point on the, any moving point on the domain. So then, so PS1, this is your D1 distance, and PS2, this is your D2 distance. And the sum of these two distances are constant. D1 plus D2 is equals to D. Okay, so this is what we, the given condition is. So D1 square is D minus D2 whole square. So D1 square is, okay, I have not put D1 square yet. So remember that D1 and D2, they come with a square root. So our idea is to reach to D1 square and D2 square. So that, with that idea in mind, we are doing this calculation. So D1 plus D2 is equal to D. D1 square is D minus D2 whole square. I have taken D to this side. Now I have expanded this one and have taken the square portions this side. So D1 square is already there. D2 square I have taken this side. D squared I have also taken this side. Over here, only things left are 2D D2. Okay, this should be minus 2D D2. This should be minus here. Typing mistake. Now D1 square minus D2 square. What is D1 square? D1 square, this is your xy, this is your a comma 0. So D1 is x plus a whole square plus y square and square root. So D1 square will be the square root of x plus a whole square plus y square. Similarly, D2 square will be x minus a whole square plus y square. So D1 square minus D2 square is x plus a whole square. You do the intermediate steps if you do not follow over here directly. X plus a whole square plus y square minus x minus a whole square plus y square. So y square is cancelled, and x plus a whole square minus x minus a whole square, that is 4ax simply, minus d square. That is equal to minus 2d. This will be minus 2d, of course. 2d into d2. d2 is this one, x minus a whole square root over x minus a whole square plus y square. Square it again, then 16 a square x square, and then the manipulations arrive at this point. So something to note here is D, the total distance D must be greater than this distance S1 to S2. Of course, otherwise there is no point of, I mean, there cannot be a point. If D is smaller than this S1, S2, then there cannot be a point which is the sum of the distances is equal to D. So of course, D must be greater than S1, S2. Then S1, S2, the distance is 2A. So D is greater than 2A. D is greater than 2A. Okay. So therefore, D square is greater than 4A square. So 4D square is greater than 16A square. So this quantity over here, 4D square minus 16A square, is a positive quantity. It's a strictly positive quantity. Okay. Then this one, this quantity over here is something bigger than this quantity, because you remember this one, you see B is smaller than A, where B was the minor axis, B was smaller than A. Here this quantity is smaller than this quantity. This is your required locus. Next question is, how does an ellipse look like? We did the same thing for parabola, we will be doing the same thing for ellipse. We list the following observations from the canonical form of the equation of ellipse. This is my canonical form of the equation: x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1. Now, over here, you see, x cannot go beyond a. X is bounded between minus a to a, and y is bounded between minus b to b. My equation is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equals to 1. So from here, what do we get? Right, this means this, right? This is a quantity inside a square root. This entire quantity, 1 minus y square by b square, is a quantity inside square root. So therefore, what happens is this thing, 1 minus y square by b square, y square by b square, this quantity has to be greater than 0. Otherwise, this doesn't make sense. There will be no real value of x for x. This implies b square minus y square is greater than or equal to 0. B square goes here, b square minus y square, and I'm multiplying by b square. Since b square is a non-negative quantity, the inequality will remain unchanged. So this one implies again that y square is smaller than or equal to b square. This implies minus b less than or equal to y less than or equal to b. Suppose we have got y square is less than or equal to 25. Okay, then considering y as a positive number, what should be the bound on y? Less than or equal to 5. Okay, now what about the negative numbers? What about the squares of these numbers? What do you think? They are the squares of these numbers are exactly same as squares of these numbers. Square of minus 0.1 is same as square of 0.1. Square of 2 is same as square of minus 2. Square of minus 2.5 is same as square of 2.5. Since doing square nullifies the presence of a sign, so the squares of this side will have the same squares as over this side. So minus 5 to 0, the squares of these numbers are exactly same as squares of these numbers. So that means y square less than 25 if for a positive quantity y or a non-negative quantity y, if these are the bounds, then if we allow y to be negative values as well, then this will be my corresponding bound in the negative part. Because if y is, you see, if y is 5 minus 5.1, what is your y square? 26.01. So this is your thing. So then you see y square does not remain less than 25. Okay, so you have to be within this minus 5 to 0 in your negative quadrant, not quadrant, negative half, and in the positive half you should be within 0 to 5. Okay, so your entire bound for y, taking both positive and negative values in consideration, your thing is y square minus 25. Y square minus 25 implies minus 5 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 5. So I have taken the union of this part, right part, as well as the left part. The same is the case over here. Just replace 25 by b square over here. 25 plus 5 square, this is b square. So y square less than or equal to b square means minus b less than or equal to y less than or equal to b. So what we found, that to have a real value of x, y must be bounded between minus b and b. Similarly, so that justifies this thing, that y must be bounded between minus b and b. Similarly, if we had written this as y equal to plus minus b times x square by a square, then in the same way we would have arrived at x is bounded between minus a and a. To have a real value of y, x is also bounded between minus a and a. Therefore, x is bounded between minus a and a, and y is bounded between minus b and b. Therefore, the locus is bounded, unlike parabola. The locus is bounded. Now, Since 0 is less than b less than a, then e square is equals to a square times 1 minus a square. Now since e is smaller than 1, 1 minus e square is smaller than 1, so b is smaller than a. Now since b is smaller than a, the locus is narrower along the y-axis and wider along the x-axis, because along y-axis your range is minus b to b, and along x-axis your range is minus a to a. So this range is bigger than this range. Okay, if I say a is say 5, then minus 5 to plus 5, this is your range, and say b is equal to 3, then minus 3 to plus 3. So which range is bigger? Minus 5 to 5, that range is bigger. So whatever portion you have along y-axis that is narrower than the portion you have in the x-axis, because x-axis is wider, you have the range wider along x-axis and narrower range along y-axis. If any point x0, y0 lies on the ellipse, then so do all the points plus minus x0 and plus minus y0. x0, y0 is in ellipse. E stands for ellipse, let's say, implies this: the point x coordinate x0 and y0, they will satisfy this equation. The equation of the ellipse is x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1. If this one is true, then this is true. Do any combination of plus minus x and plus minus y0, plus minus x0 and plus minus y0, that belong to the ellipse. Okay, so the locus is symmetric about x-axis, y-axis, and also about the origin. So if you remember, in case of parabola, if you remember this thing, that for any two values of y, for every x, there are two values of y equal in magnitude, opposite in sign. So that means the graph was symmetrical about x-axis. Similarly, over here, for every value of x, single value of x, you get two values of y equal in magnitude, opposite in sign. For every, so that means the locus is symmetric about x-axis. For every value of y, you get two values equal in magnitude, two values of x equal in magnitude, opposite in sign. So therefore, this is symmetric about y-axis as well. For every value of x comma y, you get minus x minus y. So that means the locus is symmetric about the origin as well. The straight lines x equal to plus minus a and y equal to plus minus b are tangents to the locus at the points plus minus a0 and 0 plus minus b respectively. So combining all the above observations, we draw the locus as shown in the figure. So all these observations lead to the fact that an ellipse must look like this. Okay, the line segments A dashed and B dashed are respectively called the major axis and the minor axis of the ellipse. Depending on the occurrence of the quantities A and B, which are variables x and y, the shape of the ellipse may vary in the following way. It can be either this one. So A is occurring with A and B is occurring with y, or it can be with this one. A is occurring with y, B is occurring with x. So always A is smaller than y. So in which variable it is occurring, that will determine that. Okay, parametric equations of the ellipse. This is easy. The circle drawn on the major axis of an ellipse as a diameter is called the auxiliary circle of that ellipse. So this is your ellipse. Circle drawn on the major axis. This is your major axis. This is your minor axis. So major axis as a diameter is called the auxiliary circle. So this is your auxiliary circle. So therefore, for the ellipse x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1, the auxiliary circle is given by x square plus y square equal to a square, because a is the radius of the auxiliary circle. Let P be an arbitrary point on the ellipse. Then find the nearest point Q from P on the auxiliary circle such that PQ is parallel to y-axis. Let QOM is the angle is theta. What is M? You just drop a perpendicular on the y-axis from P. QOM is theta. Then the coordinates of Q are a cos theta, a sin theta. This is the parametric equation of a circle. So if this angle is theta, this is Q equal to a cos theta, a sin theta. Therefore, the x coordinate of P, this must be same as x coordinate of Q, that is a cos theta. Once you have got one coordinate, x coordinate here, you just put xy is a point on the ellipse x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1. You just put x equal to a cos theta in this equation and you get y equal to b sin theta. You just do this calculation. You put x equal to a cos theta. So this becomes a square cos square theta by a square. A square cancels. So cos square theta plus y square by b square equal to 1. So cos square theta goes this side. So y square by b square equal to 1 minus cos square theta. 1 minus cos square theta is sin square theta. So y square by b square is equals to sin square theta. So y equal to b sin theta. Plus minus b sin theta, of course. So if we take the positive one, then we get y equal to b sin theta. Hence, the parametric equation of the ellipse x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1 is x equals to a cos theta, y is equals to b sin theta. Last thing today is there are actually two foci and corresponding directrices for any given ellipse. So for the ellipse x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1, the respective pairs of foci and corresponding directrices are ae comma 0 with x equal to a comma a by e. Here, while we have found out the equation of the ellipse, we had started with this one. This was our focus ae comma 0, and the directrix was a by e comma 0. So this directrix corresponds to this focus. So ae comma 0 corresponds to this directrix x equal to a by e. There is another set of focus and directrix that is minus ae comma 0. So somewhere over here is this is my ae comma 0. So this will be minus ae comma 0. Minus ae comma 0 with x equals to minus a by e. The line will be somewhere over here. So this is your full thing. This is ae comma 0. This is this is minus ae comma 0. This is ae comma 0. This is for this one you have got this thing x equal to a by e. For this one you have this focus, you have got this directrix x equal to minus a by e.